Hey Joshua, this is Keaton Everett from ABC going over your pitching video from the spring break camp. We're going to just kind of go over it, talk about a few things, kind of break it down point by point, and just talk about sort of the whole point of pitching, getting consistent, using our lower half, and just trying to get ourselves in the most healthy position we can to deliver the ball. First off, I just want to say this is really solid. All around, really good. I'm real impressed with what I'm seeing here. There's really only a few things that I'd really want to touch on with you to help you out a little bit. So we'll just kind of go along and break it down, sort of step by step, frame by frame, and just talk a little bit about what you're doing good, what you could improve on, and go from there. So first off, how we start dictates a lot of how we're going to finish. All right, so we got to to get consistent, we got to be able to break our hands at the same time. We got to start our leg path at the same time. We just got to do everything right over the rubber before we get going down the hill to create that consistency, to create that timing. So you are pretty solid over the rubber, all right. If we take a look at what your head's doing, basically the biggest thing is we don't want to see your head go backwards when you lift that leg up, all right. So you're doing pretty good there. A lot of times we'll see kids, come set up a little bit spread out. You are a little bit narrower here, but it's within range that I don't mind. But a lot of times you'll see kids kind of spread out a little more, and their weight will be right in the middle of their legs. All right. So as long as we're loading up on that back side, you should feel nice and powerful in that back leg. You're doing good. All right. So you're not coming back and then forward, wasting that movement, causing those timing issues. So solid there. All right. You start with the hands up high, come set. Usually when guys do drop their hands down, for the timing, for the consistency, it's easier to start with your glove somewhere around here. If you just kind of look at guys in the big leagues and everything, at the higher level, you really don't see a whole lot of glove coming set up top, kind of around your face. So I would recommend you dropping it down a little bit, because the movement in the hands, it doesn't add arm speed, it doesn't add velocity. All it does is just make it tougher to time. It makes it tougher to break your hands at the same point, just because there's so much movement in those hands. So we kind of want to limit any excess movements that we can to make it easier for us to time. So as you can see, you're coming up here, all right. And the biggest thing with what you're doing is there's a little bit of some rushing going on. More so when you finish. All right, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the thing here that I do like is you're coming up, you're getting this knee, and you're closing these hips off, and you're starting these hips down the mound first. All right, that's one of the biggest things of generating power, is starting those hips. So you can see your hips going forward. If we draw a box around them, you'll watch those hips come out of that box, and that leg's still closed. You're driving down a little bit, so that's perfect. You want those hips to start. Now the one thing that you are doing is, if you watch what your foot's doing here, is it really kind of stays up, like you're almost trying to kick something out here, and really doesn't ever get close to the ground. And all that's going to do is that just causes you to kind of pop open a little bit. Because if we were from the front, it's kind of tough to see from this angle. But if we're going from the front and drew a line from your back foot, kind of around the balls of your foot, on that right foot, you're going to see that you're opening up a little bit. We kind of want to, if you're drawing a line from the ball of your right foot straight down the line, we're going to want to land somewhere around that line. It doesn't have to be perfectly on the line, but just somewhere. But at this point, it looks like we're opening up a little bit. And all that's doing is that's just losing a little power and velocity, and all that's causing that is this kick right here. if you just kind of let this leg come up and just kind of let it follow, come down a little bit more before it kicks open, you're not going to have that tendency to open up early. So you're just keeping that foot up a little bit high and kicking it open. Just let it drop down a little bit so you can get your hips closed and land a little bit closed off. So another thing with your hands is you're getting real big movements, and you can see you're breaking your hands outside of that knee, which I don't see a whole lot, and it's really tough for timing and consistency. So if you can get that glove tucked in behind that knee, it'll just make it easier to time and to get consistent. So that's just an easy fix. It's something for you to play around with. If it's something that really isn't comfortable, if you just like doing this, I really don't have a problem with it, but it's just something to sort of look at now and play around with, just because, as you get older, as you get stronger, as you get quicker, it's going to be a lot harder to time. Alright, so just the less we can be moving with those hands in that glove, the easier it is it's going to time. Alright, because one time you might be, here with the ball. We can even check it now. We'll go back and look at your first pitch to see. Well, I guess the camera moves a little bit too, but and then you might be at a different spot with your hands. So the first frame we see your hands, it's a little bit lower. You can kind of see your knees already out. And then on this one, you're breaking your hands, and that knee hasn't popped out yet. So this one is pretty good to see. So you can see your hand's already broken, knees behind your glove, and then this one before, your hands are broke, and now it's kind of like your knees almost underneath your arm, or in front of it. So it's just that timing. It's just really hard to time that, and we need that to be timed. We want those hands to break at the same time over the rubber every time to get consistent. So that's one of the reasons that we just like to limit that movement. All right. So now we're going to look at release point. Okay. Part of I talked a little bit about your Russian, and Russian for you. All right. Arm path wise, let me just first say, arm path, glove, everything looks really well. This arm is in a pretty good position. Health wise, everything looks good here. We don't like to see the hyperabduction where that elbow gets high above the shoulder. All right, it's not dragging, it's not down here, so everything's looking good that way. You're getting that glove out there, getting your body. But when I'm talking about Russian is that foot strike. All right, if we go back and get exactly at that foot strike, looks like it's about right here. You can see your spine angle is just a little bit out front. All right, we want to keep that a little bit farther back over that back hip before we start forward. And then you'll see as you finish, you kind of keep falling forward. All right, and you just should be able to get to a point where you're transferring that energy and you're not having to kind of like run forward after you throw. And all that is you're just letting that upper body get out a little bit in front as you're coming through the zone. So you're just kind of falling forward with it. So the more we can keep that upper body back. Here we'll look at the other pitch here. So you can see here, that spine's coming through again. So we just want to keep that back, transfer that weight out on this front foot, and then everything comes through. Those shoulders rotate, and you're just able to stick it out in front a little bit better. But torque-wise, you're getting for your age, this is pretty good torque. And torque is your hip going forward before that shoulder's rotating. So you can see there's a little bit of rotation, but for your age, that's really good. So you're on the right track that way. Using those legs, you got a good finish. That back's getting straight after release. A lot of times you see kids kind of standing up, so that's really good. But other than that, it's solid. Just a matter of staying back a little bit, limiting your movement with your hands, and like I said, really solid overall. So nice job, and good luck this season. Hope you have a successful baseball season. Thanks for making it out to our camp, and we look forward to seeing you again with ABC.